All right, so this video is for the accessory object. Basically, I'm just going to show you how to use the shadow box and sculpt some stuff onto it using the clipping brushes and the various things, just to do hard surface modeling. So first things first, you should open up with a empty thing, go to Lightbox, go to Tool, and you'll see a couple different options as far as these light boxes are. Just go ahead and do the 128. It's just the resolution of it. It's better, obviously. So double click on that. It'll pop up here. Same as before. I'm just going to hold Shift as I draw it. All right. So voila, there it is. Again, though, I'll just keep drawing them. So I got to switch to Edit mode. Turn Lightbox off. Okay. Right now I got the floor on. I like having the floor because I can see what's going on. But basically, it's this box that you can draw on, if you remember from class. So what you're going to do is this. You're going to draw on each section what you want it to be. So for this, I'm just going to do a ring. I did a bunch of sketches earlier. I'm not going to bother showing them now, but I'm just going to kind of wing it for this one. So basically, just to give you a real quick idea of it, is if you hold Control like you normally would mask and you draw something, it'll project that shape, and then it will match up the different sides to make whatever it is, which in this case is nothing. So I'm just going to do that. But in my case, I want to make a ring. So if I'm going to do a ring, I'm going to take off perspective. I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to hold Shift. Okay, so I'm looking at the bottom, and I'm going to hold Control, and you can see it turns to the mask, right? So what I'm going to do is that instead of trying to freehand draw a circle, which is going to be impossible, I'm going to hold, while I'm holding Control this entire time, I'm going to switch it to circle. Okay, and there's other ones here like rectangle if you need to draw a rectangle. I'm going to go to circle, and then I'm going to go right also within the circle settings, I'm going to do square and center. Square is going to make it so that it's proportionate, and then center means it's going to go from the center of it, not from the right, like whatever corner. You know how normally you draw a circle starts from up there. That's what I don't want it to do. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do center, and it should, good. Okay, I'm also going to put on square. Thought I did that, I did not. And square. Okay. I'm also going to actually go from this side because otherwise the object's going to pop up. So you're actually better off being on the bottom. So hold Shift. All right. So to this, I'm just going to hold Control. I'm going to start right at the center of the grid here, and I'm going to draw a circle. Okay. And if I look at it, you'll see it makes a cylinder, which isn't exactly what I'm looking for. Now I need to remove the inside of that. That's real easy. So Alt is always the opposite, right? So I'm going to hold Control and Alt. I'm going to start from the center. I'm going to drag out, and then I can unmask that. And now what you're going to see is a really fat, ugly ring. Okay, but at least gives you kind of an idea. All right. Now, we'll do from the right side here. I'm just going to draw like some shapes because I don't really know what I want to do. So let's hold Shift, and this time we'll hold Control, and I'm not going to do a circle, although that might be kind of neat. Yeah, I'm gonna do a rectangle, and I am going to do this. So we're gonna go from, oops, apparently I have that on center as well. Did not realize. Okay. Okay, so Control, boom, and oops. I do not care about being square, and I do not care about being center. Okay. So from here, I'm just going to draw, I guess I'll start from the bottom corner. Something like, try to make it even on both sides. So if that's 3 over on that side, 3 over on this side, we'll do it like that. And then what I'm going to do is just unmask some parts. So I'll do Control and Alt, and I'm just going to go 2 by 2 here, go 2 by 2 here, 2 by 2 here, and then we'll do 2 till the end. Like that. Okay, and now if you're looking at my shape, it doesn't look very good. Well, it didn't come out well at all. Would have thought that would have worked. Okay, well, that didn't work. So you got to kind of test it, I guess. So let's hold Shift, go over here. I'm just gonna hold Control, and actually I'll just do Control and click and drag. It'll get rid of that mask. Oops, did it get rid of the other one? It did. All right. So let's undo that. All right, so I'm gonna hold Control and Alt, Shift, Control and Alt, and just drag that off. Oh, I got rid of it. All right, we'll do this. I'm just gonna hold Shift, do just Control, and I'm just going to redraw the square. And that should give me... Oh, you know what happened? It was working. It was the last bit that didn't work. It must have cut off the bottom. I didn't even see that. Okay. Well, I'm an idiot. Alright, so let's try this again. So Control and Alt, take off, oops, not that chunk. This chunk. Okay, and then we'll just make it thicker on the bottom. Alright. So you can kind of see it made this kind of cool looking thing. Kind of got cut off on the ends because I didn't go as wide as what the original one was. That's why it's good to keep track of how wide it is, but that's fine. Alright, so we'll call that a base shape. And turn on perspective, but you get kind of an idea of what it looks like, right? So that's my ugly ring. Now from there, what I need to do is I actually want to start sculpting on it, okay? But I don't want this box here, so what I'm going to do is right up here, I'm just going to click on Make Polymesh 3D, and that's just going to get rid of the other thing, and now it's just one of my meshes, all right? So let's say on top of this we want to add or remove some pieces. So let's say for whatever reason I want to put cut out a circle in here, okay, or a square or some shape. The way to do that is to do this. I'm going to first under geometry, just go ahead, you don't have to do this now, it'll work regardless. Make this a Dynamesh, okay, just so that this is Dynamesh. But under the brush, they have some weird insert brushes. So you insert cube, insert cylinder, insert ear. Don't know why you need that. What we'll do is we'll insert brush. Okay. So, whoops, got interrupted there. So we have insert cylinder. Okay. I don't really care about that. I'll do it back to the ad. All right. So I'm just going to, yeah, good. So I'm just going to kind of snap here and try and center this as best I can. And I'm just going to draw a little, oops. As I draw it, you actually, if we want to cut into it, I have to hold Alt. So I'm going to hold Alt and click and draw, like so. That's going to make a little cylinder right there. And then what I can do is I can just push Sub, and that will actually, oh, sorry, I got to clear out the mask first. Click and drag. I can click Sub, and that will actually cut that little hole outside of there, okay? So that will allow you to remove, do a Boolean, or cut other shapes out of other shapes. So really you should be able to get what you need just from the cylinder and the cube and the ear and the various other ones. Okay. So let's say we want to just add a cylinder. So let's say on this side I want to add a cylinder. I'm just going to kind of do the same process. I'm going to just hold Shift and I'm going to draw a cylinder. All right. Now, to move this cylinder, because let's say I don't want it exactly there, because you can see it's kind of going on the inside and stuff too, I just use this move. Now, this gets kind of weird, but basically you do is you have to start on there. If you try to click over here, it's not going to work. So you actually have to be drawing on the actual object itself. So you just click and drag. If I hold Shift after I start dragging, it will snap to specified degrees, okay? And all it does is it makes this kind of weird handle there, okay? Generally, I would say use Shift while you're doing it, just because it makes it easier. Now, to move something, you grab the center one here. This will move it. So I'm just going to kind of pull it out here. Now, let me show you this too. So let's say I want it to be a little bit thinner this way. I can actually start it here. I'm going to hold Shift again, and I'll just draw out here. Now, if I grab this one, it's going to pivot at this spot. Watch. It pulls down there. If I hold Shift, it will keep it straight, but you can kind of see you get like a weird, it's kind of a weird way about it, okay? If I grab this one, it's going to go to that focal point, okay? It's kind of like scaling. It's just a weird way they do it. I'm just going to hold this and then hold Shift, and I'm just going to kind of pull this. Oh, whoops, actually, I didn't hold Shift. I held something different. All right, I'm going to hold that, and I'm just going to kind of truncate it a little bit like so. And then I'm just going to grab this move and move it right there. Yeah, get in there. Be where I want. Beautiful. Okay. So there we go. So it's not fine. Okay, good. Now what I'll do is I'll just clear out the mask, and I have that shape there, and I will just go to add, and that will add that shape to it. Okay, so you can kind of create booleans that way, which is nothing too new. All right. Okay. So looking at my thing here, I can see I might want to flatten or straighten some things. What well, let's say for some reason I have, I'm trying to think of something I could do here. I have like a pad. Let's go back to draw too, so I have that there. We'll just say we're going to put something on here, right? So first things first, I'm going to take off this, I'm just going to go to like the standard brush here. I could, oops, I'm on sub here. Let's go back to add. I could draw out something like a heart shape because that's really popular with rings. Okay. All right, we'll just say we drew this heart shape. But let's say I want to just make it like a little bit more pronounced. One thing I could do is just use a mask. So I could put this back to orthographic. And what I'll do is I'll just hold Control, click and drag. So I go all the way into it, but that. So now everything is selectable but this, and I'm just going to hold Control and tap, and now this part is just there. Okay. Now with that, I can actually use, let's say, the Move tool, and I'll just draw, and I'm going to hold Shift, and then I can actually just kind of pull this out. Hold Shift as I pull it out, and now you can see that that's a little bit better. Okay. I'm just going to hold Control, click and drag, and now it's more pronounced. I'm actually going to hold Control, click and drag to rebuild the mesh because you saw how it was getting kind of chunky there. Now let's say I wanted this to be flat though. You can kind of see it's rounded. I could use some brushes, or again I'll just use the mask. It works a lot better. So I'm going to hold Shift as I turn to the side here, and I'm going to again kind of make the same kind of selection. This, I'm going to tap Control to invert it, and then what I'm going to do is go back to the Draw tool, and then I'm going to use the flatten brush here, flatten. Okay. And then I'm just going to, we'll make this a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to kind of flatten this. Okay, don't go too crazy because it starts to cut in, and then afterwards I'm going to hold Shift just to smooth it. All right, so kind of go back and forth between the two, and you can see I just made that basically, you know, so I'll just click and drag to rebuild it again. It got a little funky there, but you get kind of the idea. I was able to make like more or less a rigid thing just by using that. Now, if I wanted to, one of the things that's going to happen because of the resolution right now, because I'm only at 128, is that there's not enough to really make it a hard edge. So you're going to have to take your Dynamesh up a bit. Once you get the general shape that you want and the volumes, you're going to want to pump this up to pretty high. And mind you, if I try to do it right now, because I didn't change anything, it's not going to do it. So I have to move something. So for instance, I'll just take this spot here, and I'm just going to smooth it a little. Just use the flatten brush here. Okay. Now if I hold Control, click and drag, it will rebuild it. Terribly so, apparently. Is there a hole there or something? Oh, there is a hole there. Oops. Okay. So one of the things that can happen, because this is sort of a thin shape, whenever I start to draw on this, so if I use the standard brush, BST, I think it is, what will happen is that as I pull from the front, it actually goes through the object. To prevent that from happening, you can actually just use this. If you go to the brush settings and you go down to auto masking, turn on back face, meaning that it won't select the inside faces. So watch, now as I draw up here, it's not doing back there. So that was a mistake I made. So that wouldn't have happened if I didn't stink so much at this. All right. So at this point, we're actually running out of time. But just be aware you could use, oops, let's not do that. There's a bunch of different brushes that you could use that do some pretty interesting things. Like this planar one will cut in direction. You really honestly just got to try them out and see which one works for you. But that should be enough to generally get your idea going. Try to play around with it, figure out, what you want to do. Try to not make something as ugly as this. Good luck.